This is Young Excellent Men 5. And just to clarify something for the viewer, these excellent men, they are young. They are not adults. They're not hard. They are children. They are young. That is why it's called Young Excellent Men, because they are young. In some of the other reviews, I have mentioned how they really noticeably aged one of the characters up. Wolf Club, they aged them up a lot in this series. I don't know why I feel the need to provide precise evidence of this claim in this video, but here we go. This is how Wolf Club appeared before this. This here is the only real major story he had before. A crap Bucky Larson Excellent Men Excels crossover about stupid wary wolf people. But he's really young. He's like 10 or something. As I said, I didn't know why, for this video, I felt the need to prove that. This is the final part of this first story arc, but not really. The 6th issue ties off this plot line, but I think this issue here, it's meant to be like the final part. It is the last issue of the series that Yanick at the disco will draw. His only further involvement with this book or its characters will be that one-off Gay Malcolm story in one of the anthology books. I want to say Manifest Destiny, but it might have been Divided We Stand. It's also written by Martin Juju Jaime, that story and this series, which begs the question, why is it not just part of the main book here? But we pick up exactly where we left off. Good Tights, the big bad, he is fighting Gay Malcolm, and during the fight, Dusk, who has been transformed into glass, she ends up being shattered. And then we have Magma. She escapes from a prison cell and straight away scares Good Tights off. Good Tights, he had this big plan to have this new team of young excellent men fight the original new muties. And it's not really worth getting into here, since both the two teams, they quickly get clued into the truth of what's been going on. And Magma, she uses her powers to transmute Dusk back into her true form, because she was the one who transformed her into glass in the first place. I'm not keen when they show Dusk out of a jab. I think it's especially bad when it's like this and she is naked and knocked out. It is demeaning. This is not how this person would want to be seen. And now it is a fictional character and whatnot, but it feels like an inconsiderate way to depict the character. Elsewhere, we have some of the other team members, Wolf Club, Onyx and Inky Jones. They are fighting Cannonballs and Eclipse. And these new muties guys, they have not been implemented into this book very well. They were set up as antagonists, and as a result, we never really got to see much of them because they could not reveal too much for the sake of making them look like actual bad guys and maintaining this image that they are the antagonists. So instead, they just feel underserved by this story, and their motivations and all this stuff with the bondage club, it's not really addressed. And I think this is it for that plot line, with Eclipse joining the bondage club. The only good Eclipse plot line, in my opinion. It lasted 8 years, but no one really did much of anything with it. This is one of the more substantial incorporations of that development, and it really just washes his hands clean, and it's never referred to again. So we have Magma and Dusk and newcomer Gay Malcolm now in a uniform, and they are off to join up with the others. And out here we learn Inky Jones has wings tattooed on his back, allowing him to fly. That is his supposed power. He has abilities based on whatever he gets tattooed onto his body. And then when everything gets cleared up, Inky Jones, he picks a side after 4 issues of being shifty, and he fesses up that he knows where Good Tights' secret base is. And we have the new Muties characters. They brush off the young team due to their inexperience and age. That is obviously like the worst thing to do with a young team like this. They are not going to respond to that well. Age aside, Onyx and Dusk have seen plenty of action, and maybe bringing these kids united under Cannonball's leadership, they might be more than liabilities. Onyx and Dusk have powers that could only bolster any campaign against Good Tights. And Inky Jones, he has a bucket full of tricks, even if you cannot quite trust them. And then we have Wolf Club. Well, the new Muties, they have a history that would make them best suited for finding the best way to utilise a wary wolf doggy type of mutie in combat. But no, the new Muties, they are arrogant pricks, and they gan off by themselves, leaving the children alone, since that is a brilliant idea. Gay Malcolm, he gans off on his own, and he rescues Blind Spot and Mary Sue Moonchild, just in time for Blind Spot's shitty dream from the first issue to come true. The children who were left alone, they get attacked by Good Tights, and just like in the dream, one of the young children is brutally maimed by Good Tights, and it is Wolf Club. Wolf Club dies after only stepping out of the shadows to star in this series. He was just fodder to put the other characters through an emotional arc. Hey, where is Gail Simon and her stupid refrigerators? Keep in mind, someone pointed at this little child here, someone sat down and picked this guy out and decided, I want to kill him off in my first story. And then we end with a preview of exciting storylines to come up in future issues of Young Excellent Men, except that one doesn't happen. And and that one doesn't happen because this series is canned after 10 issues. Fuck this book. People really hated this series for it not being a continuation of New Excellent Men, but I have always cut it some slack. But pointlessly killing off a kid, bringing a character into the book just to kill him off, it is shit. I don't even care if it's meant to be a tribute to the gigantic-sized Excellent Men team losing a member in their second mission. It is both cheap and done to death. Definitely a pun intended there. Wolf Club, he was one of the characters I pointed to and I was actually drawn to in this series. I loved that this guy, who had just been in the background mostly, I loved that he was finally receiving some development and spotlight. He is one of the 3 characters I said that people would accept and actually care to read about. You've also got to consider that this team has Blind Spot, who is about the deadest piece of wood possible, completely worthless. She brings nothing to this book. I'm not advocating an either-or proposition, but there is much more mileage in having her be the one who meets her end as a result of her own cryptic vision than just mutilating a little dog boy for no reason. Blind Spot's premonition, it added nothing to this story. The characters, they did not try to avert it. They did not try to avoid it. It didn't even give Blind Spot anything more today. She didn't care enough to try and alter it or change it. It becoming true, it doesn't change her character in any way. That dream and the foreknowledge, it meant nothing to any of these characters at all. It was just a stunt to tell readers in the first issue that one of these characters is going to die. And if you want to offer up people to die, how about Inky Jones, a character created for this book? I think his death would have had a lot more impact than Wolf Club, who is honestly forgotten about by issue 7. Inky Jones, you could argue that his story is complete. You had him choose the right side at the end, and it would be a fitting point to kill him off, almost like a sacrifice, and you would let him die surprisingly as a hero. Then all the revelations that come after this about his power, they would add even more weight to the idea that in the end he was a lot more selfless and more of a hero than he ever seemed. Instead, let's kill Wolf Club rather than ever bother doing anything constructive with someone else's creation. 7 thumbs up.